Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Sunday, December 10th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Cotton Bowl game is in 19 days. The game against Michigan in 356 days. Hey, today we're doing a show we have been trying to get to all week long, and stuff just kind of keeps popping up. Had so many things to talk about this week. We've done some bonus episodes. Today we're finally going to be hearing from Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz. He had a press conference the day that the Cotton Bowl matchup against Ohio State was announced. Today you're going to be hearing some of his answers from that. Kind of an interesting guy, a little bit of an interesting story as well that I'm guessing Ohio State fans probably have not been following Missouri football all that closely this year. So going to get to know Coach Drinkwitz and the Tigers a little bit better on today's show. So let's start with the relationship between Ohio State head coach Ryan Day and Drinkwitz. Day talked about the fact that he's known Drinkwitz for a while. They haven't really worked together, but they've kind of followed each other's careers for a while now. So here's what Drinkwitz had to say about Ryan Day.
I think he's a tremendous football coach. Obviously, have followed his career, have a lot of respect for the way he's gone about his business. Working up from Boston College, from the NFL, having opportunities there to being the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. And obviously, I think one of the elite coaches in college football. Does a tremendous job offensively. He's one of those teams that I like to watch and just see what they're doing because I know they're always on the cutting edge. And then, just have a tremendous amount of respect for the person that he is as well as the football coach.
We are just about a week out from when this game first got announced, and we still have not really heard much about opt-outs for Ohio State. Obviously, guys like Kyle McCord and Chip Trayanum and Julian Fleming are in the portal. They're not going to be playing. But what about guys on the Missouri side? This question actually starts with a comment about the fact that there are lots of Missouri alums in the Dallas area and what Drinkwitz is expecting in terms of fan turnout for the Tigers, but also, does he have any idea on opt-outs for the Tigers yet?
I think we are going to have a great representation with our fan base. I know they're very excited. Dallas is a natural area for us to be at. It's a short drive. I know our fans would be able to drive there from Columbia, really anywhere in the state of Missouri. We also have direct flights from Columbia, St. Louis, Kansas City. So I don't think getting there will be any issue at all. I know the tickets are going really fast. I think they announced at the basketball game we've already sold 80% of our allotment. So I know that the excitement for us is really strong. Our team plans to play, and I plan on having our team at full strength. We have a couple of injuries that could prevent certain players from playing, but in visiting with the seniors prior to the announcement of this game, it was our plan as a senior group to finish one more game together.
The realities of modern bowl games that are not college football playoff games is you probably are going to see some opt-outs from at least one of the teams, maybe both. Drinkwitz obviously not expecting many. On the Ohio State side, it would be pretty surprising if the Buckeyes were at absolutely full strength for this game. So when you're game planning against Ohio State in Missouri's spot right now, how do you game plan around possible opt-outs that could really change who and what you're facing from the Buckeyes?
No, you don't worry about it. I mean, you control, coaches talk about controlling the things that they can control. We have no real control over how that's going to play out. Each individual student athlete has to do what's in their own best interest. And I think we're all recognize that this game, these players have a business side to it too. And so I think as coaches, we respect that. I know as players, they respect it. But as far as our preparation, we're preparing to play a very good opponent. And the thing about playing a team like Ohio State is if they have a player opt out, there's multiple players behind them that are very talented, that are ready to step up. And so I don't necessarily think you can worry so much about who's playing. You got to worry and prepare for the scheme. They have tremendous coaches. Jim Knowles is one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. Obviously, Coach Day and Coach Hartline do a tremendous job on the offensive side of the ball. So we're going to have our hands full with the scheme as well as the combination of players.
This Cotton Bowl matchup is going to be the first one between these two teams since 1998. That is, in fact, 25 years. I went back and counted. Yes, we are all getting very old. Okay, so first time in a quarter century that Ohio State and Missouri are going to face off since the two teams played a home and home back in 1997 and 1998. So what does the opportunity to play a program like Ohio State mean for the Missouri program?
Again, I think it's one of those great things about college football. And one of the things I think the bowl system is so good because it gives a uniqueness to the game. It creates fun matchups and creates opportunities for our student athletes and for our fan base to have this great game. We were fortunate to be the first announcement of the selection show for the New Year's Six. And man, when you see your name up against Ohio State, again, that's a blue blood national brand, and to have an opportunity to play him is very special. I know for me as the head football coach, in my wildest dreams, I don't know that I ever thought about being able to coach in the Cotton Bowl versus Ohio State. So it's something that I'm going to be very, very present in and really enjoy the moment.
Drinkwitz has had quite a story this season. He started the season on a lot of hot seat lists, and now he's ending it in the New Year's Six. So, what has he learned this year about building his program?
When you face challenges in life, you can decide whether or not you want to grow and learn from them, or what we call BCD, blame, complain, and defend poor performance. And I think me personally, I had to choose to grow. I had to choose to grow and say, hey, what's best for our team is for me to no longer call plays. I think I had to grow and say, hey, it's best for me to hire this person as the defensive coordinator. I think it was time for me to grow in making sure that I was recruiting the right type of players that fit us. And so I think, again, as leaders, you have the opportunity to model the mindset that you want for your players and be transparent with them. And I did that with our guys, and I think our staff has been very much like that. And I think our players respected that and kind of adopted the same thing where, you look at some of our guys that came back, that had opportunities to go play in the NFL, that came back for this year to grow, to continue their quest for improvement. And, you're looking at Darius Robinson and Ennis Rakestraw, Chris Abrams-Drain and J.C. Carlisle and Javon Foster, Xavier Delgado, Harrison Mevis, guys that all chose to give us one more season. And we're very appreciative for that.
There are a lot of Ohio State fans who can't wait to tell you how little this game means for the Buckeyes. Just check the replies to just about any tweet about this game on twitter.com, and you will find those folks who cannot wait to tell you that. But that's a little different for Missouri. This is potentially a very big game for the Tigers. Could be their 11th win of the year, Cotton Bowl championship. The win over Ohio State is potentially, as we mentioned in the previous question. What would that all mean for Drinkwitz and his program?
I'm going to echo what Coach Day said. Anytime you keep score and playing a game, you want to win. And I don't know that this one's any bigger than the previous 10. It's the next opportunity versus a really good opponent. And we're not going to put any more pressure on ourselves than that. I'm not going to play the what if game, well, what if we win? What if we don't? Like, we have a process of trying to be 1-0. And this is the next opportunity for this group of seniors and for this staff to try and be 1-0. And that's what we're going to do. And whatever else happens outside of that is outside of my control.
Now, you may have heard Eli Drinkwitz mention a couple questions back that he gave up offensive play calling before this season. Now, there is a little bit of subtext there that I probably don't need to spell out too much for an audience of Ohio State fans, but there's another coach in this game who talked about giving up offensive play calling this time last year and who is still calling plays. So where did Eli Drinkwitz see the biggest benefit from giving up play calling this year?
We had a couple of coaches come and talk to our team, and I was picking their brains about them being head coaches. And one of them reminded me that college football coaching 18 to 22-year-olds is 90% having your team motivated. And, I think for the previous 2 years, I've spent so much time worried about X's and O's that I forgot about the mindset of our players, making sure that was ready each and every week. And so it allowed me to really focus more in on what was the mindset of the coaching staff and players at each practice? What was our focus going to be? What was our focus going into the game? What was our plan to win? Not just what's our plan to get third downs. What's our plan to win as a staff? And are we going to be able to execute that? What are the attacking spots? There was a key point in the game this past season where we attempted a fake punt. And our special teams coordinator deserves all the credit for that design. But as a coach, I was in that moment saying, okay, let's do that here. I don't think as a head coach calling the offense, I would have been prepared to do that. So I think those kind of things really showed up this season. And it showed up because I was more intentional and focused on managing the game and being more present and being more focused on motivating our players and staff.
We will be back with more coverage of the Cotton Bowl coming up a little later on in the week. We're expecting to talk to Ohio State players and potentially coaches this week to get a little bit of some updated thoughts on the game, potential opt-outs, much, much more. That'll be coming up later this week, but we'll have plenty of coverage of that, plenty of coverage of recruiting as we're just over a week away from early signing day. I'm sure the transfer portal is not completely done giving and or taking from the Ohio State football program. We'll be covering all that stuff for you at BuckeyeHuddle.com. And find all of our full team there. Tony, Kevin, and I covering the team. Mark covering recruiting. Ross and Mickey and Devin and Justin covering X's and O's and making you a smarter football fan, all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.